You get rewarded in public for what you practice in private intensely. So if you want something great in your life, find out what you want. The pathway to finding, quote, your purpose, I think the biggest mistake is thinking you have one purpose. We have lots of purposes. We have different purposes in each day. What you do with those moments, whether you use stress, you let stress use you, is going to determine your destiny. So I show people how to make changes quickly, but then to make it lock in, you need rituals, right? You can have lots of goals, but goals don't mean squat. It's like New Year's. When I was, I think 19 or 20, I just learned some of these skills, right? The NLP skills, and I'd started to prove to myself I could really produce lasting change. And the first thing I thought was, I'm helping all these people coming to these little events. Back then there were, 50, 100 people, 150 people. But like, I want to help somebody one-on-one. I want to mentor somebody. So I went there in Chino prison system in California. They had a thing called the M2 program, match two people. And so I got matched with this guy that was a murderer. And I came in and met with him, twice a month, like clockwork. And he didn't have any of those values. I helped him discover them. When I say didn't have them, we all have values. There's something distinct in the human creature that knows right from wrong, regardless of how you've been conditioned. Your conditioning can cover it up, but at a core level, we know what's important. It's kind of wired into us, so we wouldn't survive as a species. It's why we succeed. We succeed not because of one individual, we succeed because we create communities that can solve any problem. One person can't solve a lot of problems, but a group of people can. So anyway, I worked in that environment, and I got to see that within a few months, I got him to change his physiology, because that's what I start with. Start with the body, and then you'll get the mind. I start with the body. I think it's the fastest way to shift. There's lots of ways. Sometimes I start with other ways, but you just think about it. If someone is sitting here like this, and they're talking like this, and they make gestures like this, and they have this tone of voice, and they're totally defeated. They're going to be depressed. Their shoulders are down, their head's down, the breathing is shallow. You take that same person and you just put their shoulders back. As simplistic as that sounds, you move their body faster, you get them to speak at a different tempo, and all of a sudden, their entire biochemistry changes. So I show people how to make changes quickly, but then to make it lock in, you need rituals, right? You can have lots of goals, but goals don't mean squat. It's like New Year's. People set a New Year's resolution, and 91% of people never even get close to covering it, because they have this thing they want, but they have no plan, or they have a little crappy plan, but they don't have rituals, like things you're going to do every day that make it automatic, like the ones you're creating. Like, if I do that, I'm going to do this instead. Mm-hmm. Do that, do this. And after a while, you don't have to think about the ritual. It takes over. Yeah. It'll start to happen automatically for you, right? So when I look at these situations, like working with these people, I looked at it and said, okay, anyone can get those values. They have to be awakened. I start with the body. And so all of a sudden he started running, and pretty soon he's running 2 and 3 miles in a day, doing all these push-ups. And all of a sudden he's owning himself. He feels in control of his body. Once you take control of one part of yourself with discipline, I always tell people, my original teacher, Jim Rohn, used to say, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Like, if you want to have a great life, you got to learn to discipline yourself. And if you discipline yourself in one area, it's amazing. You'll start disciplining yourself in others. And discipline sounds like a negative word, but what it really means is taking back control. And so I watched that. Then I started feeding him books to read, As a Man Thinketh. So he started to feel his thoughts are controlling and so forth. And by the time he got out like 8 years later, he was a different human being. He was a loving human being, in control of his life, a peaceful human being. So the answer to your question is, it's great to have a father, but unfortunately, many of us, I had 4 different ones, they didn't stick around. Many of us didn't have that strong father, but we can find that in a mentor. Mm-hmm. And we're in a world today where if you're conscious, you can go find those mentors, because those people are online, or you can join an organization or something of that nature. So the answer to your question at a simplistic level is, yes, it's great to have a father, but not all fathers are there. Not all fathers are great fathers. But there's always someone out there that if you can show you're out for something more than yourself, and you're trying to accomplish something, somebody will move in your direction. That's the grace of life. But you have to first show you're committed. You got to show you're going to do something, in my opinion. That, to me, is what it takes. And social media, you're never going to teach these kids not to do these things. They're going to have to experience things, unfortunately, that are painful. What you really need is get to the parents. That's what really matters. But there's so many absent parents today because they're so stressed out. They don't know how to manage their own states. So it's not an easy thing. I don't pretend there is. But I think that's why communities, churches, environments where people are conscious about wanting to support one another are so valuable. And you can find it in many different ways, but you have to pursue it. God moves to those that are willing to do their part. I mean, faith without action is nothing, right? So it's like, you've got to do your part. You may not know everything, but if you start taking a few steps, you'll get momentum. You'll go on the journey we talked about, right? You'll meet new people. You'll have some new mentors. You'll face some new dragons, but then you'll learn to slay them. You'll develop skills and abilities you didn't know you had. You'll slay the dragon, and you'll come home the hero of your own life. And now you have gifts to give people because you've earned it, because you've become someone. You aren't just sitting around telling people your opinion or virtual signaling. But look, the pendulum always swings very far, and then it swings back. We're swinging about as far as I can imagine right now in our society. Probably going to go further than I even imagined, but I think we're going to find balance. There's a lot of young people coming back to God right now.
Amen.
You know, and the Z generation, they're like, it's amazing. People say they don't care. The millennials had a little different frame, not all of them, but some of them. But the Z generation is having a different piece, and I think that's the other part of history that's great. Like, if you want to know history, I'm going to give it to you in 4 sentences. Good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people, and strong people create great times. It's a cycle that we go through, and right now we're in the cycle where we have a lot of people that are weak. They, silence is violence, words are violence. I heard Chris Rock the other day said, if you think words are violence, no one has slapped out of you on national television.
Hilarious.
It's like, no, words are not violence, right? And now some people saying words are violence are saying, oh yeah, somebody got the heads of children, women, and oh, by the way, that's totally okay. I'm not saying what anybody else has been okay, but that's totally okay. It's justified. I mean, same people saying words for violence. So we're in a weird position right now.
Yeah.
But that calls to people to the point where they get humbled because they don't know what to do. And when you get humbled, you tend to look for something beyond yourself, something deeper in this world. Call it grace, call it God, call it universal intelligence. I don't limit people to say, use the words I would use. Everyone has their own way of reaching that. I'm respectful of that, but they got to find it, or they're going to feel really empty inside. The most important thing is to find something you care about more than yourself. Because whatever you're calling perfect, once you have it, won't be perfect. Because do you earn more money now than you did 10 years ago?
Yes.
And is it enough? The lower your expectations, the easier it is to achieve your goals, whatever they may be. It's more than money, right? It's creativity. Like, we're literally underwater right now. They told me it'd be impossible to do this. I wanted to build a squash court because I didn't want to drive 20 minutes each way. And the guy said, where are we going to put it? Because, we got 2.5 acres and I got 25,000 square feet here. And I said, down here. And he goes, below the water table, the ocean's on this side, the intercoastal's there. You can't do it. I said, well, have you ever been to Atlantis? Have you ever been to Scripps Oceanography? I said, let's build a submarine. And they told me to do it in 18 months. It took about 3 years, but nobody even knows it's down here, right? So, my grandkids, kids, everybody comes here. We have a blast. We use this constantly. But thank you for that. But to me, it's never about the thing. So to answer your question directly, if you can find something you care about more than yourself, it'll give you energy. Like, there's not a reason to get up in the morning if it doesn't take that much to meet your own needs. Some people's expectations are higher than others, so it takes more for some people. And most people, as they go through life, either adjust their expectations down or up, but they usually make adjustments. But I think what you really want to be able to do is find something you care about most that gives you joy for you to get up and do, where you feel like your life has meaning. Because happiness goes up and down. Happiness is, it's an energy. But meaning, a meaningful life where you feel like, man, I'm so glad that I have the privilege to be alive. I'm so glad I get to serve this way. That is what ultimately gives people joy. So you can get that meaning by being a doctor, a nurse, whether you have a hypercar or not. Everyone has different goals. And I don't tell people what they should believe, but I tell them this: whatever you want, be clear that you're gonna have to find something to serve more than yourself, that excites you, that drives you. 2, get incredibly good at mastering whatever that is. If you're gonna get good at it, you're not gonna get it because you're lucky. And it's like Steph Curry, I'm on a port of the piece of the Golden State Warriors. Steph practices 500 shots a day. When he makes a shot from half court, you see him and he's chewing on the side like Bugs Bunny, and he doesn't even look back. He just turns, and lets it swish. He's a genius. Steph Curry in high school never should be in the NBA. He was too short. His dad made him correct his shot because he never would have made it. He had to learn to reshoot while he was in high school and college, which made him terrible. But the level he work put in, so he put in 500 shots a day, every single day, 7 days a week, for his entire life, basically. But let's just take his 15-year professional career. That's 3,500 shots a week, 168,000 shots a year, 2.5 million shots in 15 years, so he can make 3,300 threes and be the best in history. You get rewarded in public for what you practice in private intensely. So if you want something great in your life, find out what you want. I look at it though across areas. I go, what I want physically, what I want emotionally, what I want with my relationships, what I want with my finances, and then I put focus in that. And I've written books in each of those areas. So for example, in the finance components, like, okay, how does somebody do it? Same way you always did. You're gonna make money one of two ways. You're gonna start your own business and grow it and sell it for a multiple, or more than one business, or you're gonna work for somebody else and you're gonna get really good at investing. Again, not betting, investing, and you're gonna compound over time. I think it's ridiculous, but at the same time, I understand it. It's because we only know what we know, right? So we're all gonna have different experiences in life. If you live long enough, you're gonna have lots of experiences. If your life's been protected, there's a point in which it won't be. You're gonna go through other seasons. And some people go through a tough season early on in life. Some people go through a tough season in the middle of their life. Some people go through a tough season in the end. But you live long enough, everyone's gonna go through winter. Right? And it's not to say you're not going to have winter times at different stages of your life. Of course, each stage has challenging times. But I'm talking about real winter, the dark night of the soul, where you feel like, holy, I'm not going to make it through this. I don't know, have either one of you ever had a situation where your life was on the line? When that happens, which I don't hope it doesn't, but it probably will at some point in your life, it's the greatest gift in the world if you don't let it kill you, if you let it drive you, because after you make it through that, nothing bothers you. After that, every day is a gift. Talk to anybody who's had a near-death experience, they'll come back and tell you, it's like, I had a friend that was a pilot in Vietnam, and he was a hotshot pilot, older guy, obviously, and he got shot down. He got locked up for 7 years in this North Vietnamese prison, and they chained him to a floor in isolation. And they chained him so that his legs are up here and his back here on a hill. So when he went to the bathroom and peed, all the acids would go down his back and burn him. They beat him regularly. He got out all those experiences. And he was like 75 years old years ago when I'm spending time with him. And the IRS came and they were being totally unjust. It took him like 3 years to get his money back. He went through so much crap. But I was like, why aren't you more upset? He's like, Tony, after the North Vietnamese, what on earth do you think could possibly get me? So it's like, both of you gentlemen and all the people listening, I don't care how good a person you are. I don't care how religious or beautiful, God-driven. I don't care how wealthy you are, smart you are. No one's going to escape extreme stress. It's going to happen more than once in your life. You're going to get robbed, or your house is going to burn down. Both of them I've done. Or someone's going to tell you you've got a tumor. I've had that also. Or you're going to have to bury a mother or father or multiples. Or or someone's going to shut down your business with a COVID. You're going to have some extreme stress moments in your life. What you do with those moments, whether you use stress, you let stress use you, is going to determine your destiny. And those moments, if you push through them, and it's like when they say, when you're going through hell, what do? Keep going. You'll learn three things. One, you'll figure out how strong you really are, because you don't know how strong you are until you have to be. It's just the truth. Second, you'll find out who your real friends are, not your Facebook friends, your real friends, the ones that when all hell's breaking loose, that are actually there for you when it's not convenient. And the third thing, the most important thing, is you'll develop an immunity to other challenges. Not like they won't bother you, but it's like, it's hard to find a worthy opponent when you've been through enough. So some people have that extreme stress early on in life, multiple times. Some people have it midlife, some later in life. I think the worst time to get it is later in life when you've never had it, because you have no strength to really deal with that. So my hope for you, gentlemen, as a person a few years your senior, is that when those things come, you'll see them for what they are. It is, if you know the hero's journey, the longest story of humanity across all cultures, it starts with a call to adventure. It doesn't look like a call to adventure. It's your house burned down, right? So my house burned down years ago in LA. So when this happened in LA, I could help people because I've been through it, right? It seemed like the worst thing in the world. Everything I had, there was nothing in the cloud in those days. All the things I had. But I had to remind myself, we all lived, and it sent me on a journey. I moved to a new place. And when you go on a journey, it's a call. And when you go on that, you can resist the call, but it'll keep coming till you face the challenge. And then you meet new people, you meet new mentors, you fight new battles, you get stronger, and eventually you evolve to a different level. And now you have something to give because you've lived enough life. You've been through so much crap and you've succeeded. Now you want to help because you don't want other people to have to go through that, and you usually can't help. And right when you think it's all over, it'll happen again.